This is not just a story. This is the history of a civilization, of faith, and of a people who changed the course of human destiny. One man, one revelation, one desert city. How did a small community in the heart of Arabia rise to create a civilization that would stretch from the Iberian Peninsula to the edges of Central Asia? How did a humble messenger unite tribes that had been enemies for centuries, overcome empires that had dominated the world for generations, and lay the foundation for a society that would last for centuries? This is not merely the history of a religion. This is the story of transformation, of human spirit, and of faith that endured against overwhelming odds. The story begins in the heart of Arabia, in a city that on maps occupied little space, yet stood at the center of the trade routes. A city of sand, of stones, of harsh winds, and of people hardened by centuries of tribal wars. The world around it was in darkness. The great empires of Persia and Byzantium had exhausted themselves with constant wars. Slavery, injustice, and oppression were commonplace. Mercy was rare. The weak had no protection. In this land of darkness, a miracle was about to begin. The year was 570, and a child was born in Mecca, a city that would soon become the center of a revolution, a force that would reshape history. His name was Muhammad, an orphan in a society that valued lineage and wealth above all. From the very beginning, Muhammad was different. He was known among his people as Al-Amin, the trustworthy one. His honesty and integrity shone like a single light in a vast darkness. He was raised by his grandfather and then his uncle, and from a young age he faced the realities of a harsh world. He worked as a shepherd, he traveled with trade caravans, he observed people. He saw injustice, cruelty, and oppression. He saw the weak exploited, women humiliated, the orphan abandoned. And yet he did not rebel, he did not cry out in anger. Instead, he sought answers. He sought truth. He often left the city, venturing into the mountains, into the solitude of the caves, seeking reflection and guidance. At the age of 40, on a night that would change the world forever, Muhammad received his first revelation in the cave of Hira. The angel Gabriel appeared before him and commanded him to read. Muhammad, unlettered and trembling, replied, "I cannot read." The command was repeated, heavier, insistent. Read in the name of your Lord who created. This was not an invitation. This was a duty, a command that would echo through history. When he returned home, his heart was heavy, his body trembling, but his soul had been chosen. His wife Khadijah believed in him immediately, offering comfort and unwavering support. This marked the beginning of a mission that would transform the world. For 3 years, the call remained secret. A small group of believers gathered in the homes of trusted companions, slaves, orphans, the poor, and those rejected by society. The early years required caution because the powerful elite of Mecca would not tolerate any challenge to their authority. But slowly the message spread, and when the command for open preaching came, the people of Mecca were shaken. Islam rejected idols. It rejected the superiority of the strong over the weak. It proclaimed equality and justice. The wealthy mocked, the powerful threatened, and persecution began. Slaves were tortured, families were starved, and some were killed for their faith. But these trials only strengthened the believers. Faith endured because the truth had been revealed. The year 615 saw the first migration to Abyssinia, a place where early Muslims could seek refuge under a just king, a king who would later embrace Islam himself. The oppression continued, leading to the year of sorrow in 619, when Muhammad lost both Khadijah and his protective uncle Abu Talib. Alone in the world, he sought support and refuge in the city of Taif. Rejected, stoned, and bleeding, he left the city with a heart full of mercy. Despite the pain, he refused vengeance. His mission was not about vengeance, it was about justice, about compassion, about the transformation of the human heart. The miraculous night journey followed. The journey beyond the heavens strengthened the spirit of the prophet, preparing him for the challenges ahead. The boycott in Mecca ended, but oppression persisted. The opportunity arose to reach beyond Mecca. Tribes from Yathrib, later Medina, pledged their support. The Hijra, the migration, marked a turning point. It was more than a journey. It was the birth of a society built on justice, equality, and faith. Muslims arrived in Medina quietly, welcomed by its people, and together they laid the foundations of the first mosque and the first Islamic state. The Medina Charter was written, a document that recognized the rights and responsibilities of Muslims, Jews, and non-Muslims. Brotherhood between the Muhajirin and the Ansar was established. Integration, coexistence, and justice became the pillars of this new society. Islam was no longer merely a call. It had become a system. And yet the world around them remained dangerous. The Quraysh of Mecca sought to destroy this new force. Battles of Badr, Uhud, and the Trench tested the resilience of the Muslims. Against overwhelming odds, faith and strategy won. The lessons of discipline, obedience, and patience were learned in blood and sacrifice. The Treaty of Hudaybiyah, though initially seen as surrender, became a gateway for Islam to spread through peace. Tribes chose freely, alliances formed, and within a few years the conquest of Mecca was achieved, without bloodshed. The idols were destroyed, and the proclamation, "Truth has come," echoed through the city. Islam now held the heart of Arabia. The foundations were solid. Tribes submitted, regions converted, and neighbors observed a new force rising. Letters were sent to empires. Invitations to Islam crossed deserts and seas. The world began to listen. The period of the four caliphs began after the death of the Prophet in 632. Abu Bakr faced the first test, unifying Arabia during the Ridda Wars. Rebels, false prophets, and tribes who returned to old practices challenged the fledgling state. Khalid ibn Walid led armies to secure the unity of the Muslim community. The Quran was compiled, ensuring the preservation of the revelation. The foundations were strengthened, and Islam began its outward expansion. Under Omar ibn al-Khattab, the expansion reached new heights. Persia and Byzantium, long-standing empires, faced armies that were small in number but vast in faith and strategy. Battles like Yarmouk and Qadisiyah changed the balance of power. Cities fell, capitals were captured, and populations converted through governance and justice rather than mere conquest. Omar's leadership exemplified strategic brilliance, justice, and piety. Wealth was distributed, cities were organized, and the Islamic State became a model of administration. Uthman ibn Affan, the third caliph, expanded the empire further and standardized the Quran. His rule saw the consolidation of naval power, the conquest of Cyprus and North Africa, and the establishment of Islam as a global force. Yet his governance also sowed the seeds of division. Favoritism and political unrest led to his martyrdom, the first cracks in Islamic unity becoming visible. Ali ibn Abi Talib, the fourth caliph, inherited an empire vast and fractured. Civil wars erupted. Battles of the Camel, Siffin, and Nahrawan tested the principles of justice and governance. Internal conflicts challenged faith and loyalty, yet Ali remained steadfast. His assassination in 661 marked the end of the era of the rightly dotted caliphs and the beginning of dynastic rule. The Umayyad period began, with Muawiyah establishing a new political order. Damascus became the capital. The empire expanded from Spain to Central Asia, yet the price of expansion was moral and political compromise. The tragedy of Karbala in 680 became a symbol of sacrifice and the deepening of Sunni-Shia divisions. Despite this, the Umayyads continued conquests, reaching the Iberian Peninsula, consolidating power in North Africa, and establishing the Islamic State as a force to be reckoned with. The Abbasid revolution followed, bringing a new era of learning, culture, and administration. Baghdad became the capital, a hub of science, art, and philosophy. The golden age of Islam flourished. Scholars preserved knowledge from Greece, Persia, India, and Egypt. Mathematics, medicine, astronomy, and literature blossomed under the guidance of Islam. Trade routes connected the world. Innovation and scholarship became as important as conquest and governance. The Islamic world faced challenges, internal divisions, and external threats, yet it endured. Cities rose and fell, dynasties changed, and the faith continued to guide society. The Ottoman Empire emerged centuries later, uniting regions across continents, preserving Islamic governance, and defending Muslim lands against foreign invasions. The Ottomans carried the legacy of faith, law, and justice. The conquests of Constantinople, North Africa, the Balkans, and parts of the Middle East solidified Islam as a political and cultural force. Through 900 years, Islam transformed from a small desert community to a global civilization. It faced tyranny, oppression, betrayal, and war. Yet through every test, the principles of faith, justice, mercy, and knowledge guided its path. Leaders rose and fell, empires expanded and collapsed, but the essence of Islam remained, a system that combined belief with governance, compassion with strength, and morality with strategy. This is the story of resilience, of faith tested and proven. From the cave of Hira to the palaces of Baghdad, from the deserts of Arabia to the cities of Al-Andalus, from the fields of Badr to the walls of Constantinople, Islam endured, expanded, and flourished. Its history is not just a chronicle of events, it is a testament to human potential guided by divine principles. The civilization that rose from a single revelation in a cave became a beacon of learning, a model of governance, and a society built on justice and equality. The story does not end here. The legacy of Islam continues. Its teachings, its history, and its civilization inspire billions across the world. Its battles, its victories, and its golden ages remain lessons for humanity. The faith that began with a trembling man in a cave continues to shape nations, cultures, and hearts. From Arabia to Andalus, from Persia to Anatolia, Islam's journey spans continents, centuries, and countless lives. It is the story of the impossible made possible, the small becoming mighty, and the light of truth dispelling darkness. This is not merely the history of a religion. This is the history of transformation, of vision, and of faith. This is the story of Islam.